Hi guys, React Native version 77 has been released, and as React Native developers, we should know how it affects our app and how we can use it to become compatible with Google's new rules around Android 16 KB support, as well as in the iOS side, what the React Native core team has changed in the iOS side, where they removed the Objective C files and replaced it with Shift template. Okay. So in the second part of the video, I'll be discussing about the brand new release of React Native Reanimated version 4.0, where we can use CSS animations directly into the view with the help of this release. Right. So let's get right into the video. So here, as they have released 4 days ago, they have highlighted 3 points. Where the first point would be they have introduced new CSS features, right? Like in CSS, we would have something called box sizing, border box, and then all those stuff. Where the padding margins would be automatically calculated. We can also enable it or disable it. So now it is available out of the box, and then we can control that as well in normal views with styles. And then the second one would be this, where they introduce something called displays to contents, where we can use it in certain parts of our application to to do the required stuff, right? But the one more thing is the CSS mixBlendMode, where we can apply these custom styles here. Yeah, so these are the new CSS features they have implemented here in this latest build. Also the outline props. Okay, before we didn't have this much customization. We had to use views upon views, which is nothing but we have to use a view above a z index with a z index, which would have these borders and all. Now it is available out of the box. But our main concern of this video, of this first part of the video, is this 16 KB support and then forced edge to edge support. Right. So I have made a video on the React Native 76 release, I think 2 to 3 months back, as well as an in-depth guide on the forced edge to edge in React Native with the help of the React Native edge to edge package, where I discussed in depth on how to do it. So from this particular version, it is available out of the box. And then what they are saying is one of the noticeable changes in Android 15 is forced edge to edge display when you build apps for target SDKs to 35. Right, I'll also explain that. And then the main thing is 16 KB page size support for Android 15 and above. Okay, so Android 15 introduces support for 16 KB size enabling for apps and more, but making previous 4 KB apps potentially incompatible on future devices. It's currently an opt-in feature for developers to test on select devices to prepare for 16 KB size being the OS default. With 77 release, React Native is ready to fully support 16 KB size, and developers will be able to ship to test and ship apps for 16 KB. Okay, so we'll go to this link provided by them. Okay, so where is this? Okay, here. Main thing is the benefits that we get by this, as well as if you are using native code, if your app uses any native code, you have to rebuild the app with 16 KB support. For example, several libraries like Vision Camera, React Native MMKV, etc., they use native C++ code. Okay, if your app uses any C++ native code, before it worked, but for Android 15 and above, the library that we shouldn't do anything, but the library which we use, the maintainer has to upgrade it to the proper version so that our app builds properly in Android 15 and above. So that has been enabled by default here. And then the library maintainers have also, the popular library maintainers have also, made it compatible. So that is number one priority of main important feature of this new release. The second one is, I will scroll down, we'll see that later. This one, community template shift as programming language for iOS apps. Okay, so if you have seen, if you have used React Native apps before, right? The first time we had app delegate.m, now we have app delegate.mm, right? So those are Objective C files. Now they have completely removed or scrapped all those things to move to Shift. Okay, so if we create a new project with this particular version 77, we wouldn't have H or M like the Objective C files, but you would have a brand new Shift files. Okay, but it is good because people have to learn both Objective C and Shift. Now, if they just know Shift, they can make the native modules and then port them over to Shift to use directly there. But if you don't want to migrate to Shift, There is also a C++ variant as well. The only limitation is if some local modules are written in C++, you would not be able to register in them in Shift. So that is the problem. Before you can write the module in Objective C or Shift, and then use RC or export module, and then export it to the to the front end side, which is the React Native side, from the native to the React Native side, and then use it. That is the only issue here. Like, so if you have any other modules in Objective C, you have to convert it to Shift. Because if you have any native code in Objective C which you use for certain particular features in your app, you have to convert it to Shift to be used in React Native. Okay, so that is one more breaking guide. And then there is also say how the app loads. This is a new line in the community template. If missed, can cause runtime issues. Make sure to add it. So we also have to add it. Slight like to change the how the third party dependencies are loaded. Okay, so that is one. And then one more main update is if you create a new project and then you won't be seeing the logs in the terminal itself. You have to open up a new Chrome dev tools, and then all the logs will be shown there. Okay, so that is one more update they have made. Okay, so let's test this out. With now, I'm going to go to the main website, click on Get Started, and then here they have in the main framework. The main documentation asks us to use Expo, but in my work app or my any other production apps, we don't use Expo. But Expo is used for faster iterations, and the line between bare React Native app and Expo app is being reduced so much. So in the future, I would use Expo, but this video is only for bare React Native folks. So if I tap on this, if you have this one, uninstall this, and then go to your terminal and then install this particular, use this command. I'm going to go here. I'm going to use this command to install the latest React Native project. So my project is called BondSync, which I'm trying to release this year. So once I tap on enter, my new project will be created, but I have already created a new project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside that a folder and then use code dot to open it. Okay, so if I go to package.json, you can see the React Native version is 77 and then the React version is 18.3.1. Okay, so we have successfully created a new project. Now what we can do is let's test all these things that they have showcased here. So first thing is the Android one. So they are saying target SDK of 35. So I'm going to copy that, go back here, target SDK 35. So now to change that, what you have to do is this compile SDK is one. We can also change this to target SDK version 35, so that our app directly compiles for Android 15. Okay, so this is for Android 15, that one, and then that's it for Android side. Sorry, I'll go post this. One more is if I go to iOS, open the iOS folder, BondSync, that project name, and you can see there is no Objective C file. They have completely changed the C plus or Objective C to Shift here. Okay, so yeah, actually it's a good process because we have to learn multiple things to do the native, but whatever to make the business run, right? So that improvement they have done. And then one more is when in React Native 75, I was not even able to run the app in iOS or Android. But in the 76 and 77, the build was very, very smooth. They improved everything, right? And then let's run the project. So I'm going to go here. Android emulator is always slow, so I'm just going to run the iOS simulator. So once I do that, you can see these things are not appearing here, which is the logs, etc. So in order to open the open the dev tools, I'm going to use J. Okay, so actually you have to wait until it gets built. So let's okay. Okay, so I'm going to go here, save this, reload the app. Okay, what they are saying J. Okay, launching dev tools. The dev tools have been launched. So you can also see the components, text. So my name is there, profiler, memory, and all these things are in a new window. Okay, so that's the new update they have provided for the latest version, as well as with this one, and then the Android 15 16 KB support, as well as with the what is it, edge to edge one. Okay, so let's try out some of these features and move to Reanimated. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is this one. Let's like what they have done, CSS mix blend one. So let's go to the CDN docs. Okay, you can see all these things are here. So now I'm going to literally copy their image, copy image address, go here, use what image to source. Okay, I need to call this, use intelligence. Oh, sorry, this one. So it's not required because it is a this image. Okay, so this one, and then you can also use cache is to force cache. Okay, because that image is not going to change. And then style of what, width of 20 for 50, height of 50. Okay, let's try it, and then let's go here, and then resize mode of contain. Okay, okay, so let's get some other images. And this looks very nice, so I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Okay, so change this to 200. Add margin vertical of 20. Okay, actually cover is enough. Cover. Okay. Okay. So now it looks somewhat okay. Let's take down some other image which looks bright. This looks very dull. Okay, this looks very nice. So I'm going to copy this image. Once I do okay, it looks nice. Now I'm going to go here and then mix blend value. So what they are saying is to ensure that, so you can set the set this on some ancestor view to ensure the some descendant view with mix blend does not. Okay, this. And then let's go here. Don't work here. So I'm going to go here. Use view, style, mix blend mode. Let's use darken. Okay. Right. And use this. Okay. Actually, darken didn't work properly. Let's use hue. Okay, it works. Okay. Okay, isolation is to isolate. Okay, let's try this. For some reason, okay, we have to check if it works in Android or iOS. Like, let's say backdrop. Okay, exclude. Okay, wait. Let's use. Okay, that's. Okay, for some reason doesn't work on iOS. So okay, yeah, but I think it should work on Android. Now, but I have never used this mixBlend ever in my life in CSS. Right. So let's move to the second one, which is the outline width. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and then outline color pink or pink is not blue. Okay, blue, and then these outline props works very similar to, but it is centered around the border box as opposed to padding box. Okay, so outline width of 2. Okay, you can see it automatically works. Right. Yeah. So that's one more one, and main one is yeah, like we can add styles like that. If we go to the MDN docs, if you have used this in CSS in normal web, it should work properly. Right. So go here, dash. and all these things. Yeah, so that's it for the first part of the video about the breaking changes where for the Android 15 16 KB support, and then shift, as well as for this particular, okay, sorry, let's this particular dev tools. Okay, so if I go to the console and then I'm going to go here and then add console.log, it won't be showcased here, but it will be, I think, let's add J, it will be showcased here. Okay, so that is one more fix, like an addition they have made. Okay, now we will move to React Native Reanimated. So yeah, so if you understood all this, actually my main upgrade is this 76, where they made new architecture by default and then they made it much faster. Okay, except some core components where it was not working that properly. But 77, the main thing is we have to be compatible for 16 KB for Android 15, because Android 16 is around the corner. Okay, they have already announced the beta version for it. That's why I am making this video. Right. For the CSS styles, I have never encountered any use case in my own apps. Shift template is a good move for having a unified code in iOS, right? Code base in iOS. Okay, now for React Native Reanimated, it's an excellent library. We have used it a lot in our own application, right? Where we animate the images and make the, like, main thing is we use it for swiping. The swiping works extremely well in Android as well, and even in lower end devices. And yeah, like so many things. So let's get started. If you tap on get started, right now it's going to version 3. So what you have to do is go here, tap on this like 4x. In the future, this would be by default, and then you have to use you have to install this next version. Okay, copy this, paste it here, and it will install the latest version. Once you do that, do the cd pod install, and it builds for both Android and iOS, as I can confirm, as it works in Android as well. Okay, so once you did that, main thing is the CSS transition and the CSS animation. Extremely good, very that's very nice. So let's go to transition property. I'm going to show you how it works. Right, it's that simple. Before it was like tough. We have to use so many things, and now it's not. It's easier to do. So for this to work, what I'm going to do here, they have used use reducer and all these things. So I'm not going to use those things and all. Okay, so okay, scroll down. Okay, this is nice, but the main thing is if we go to preview, if you tap on this, the width animates. The width doesn't move automatically. The width doesn't expand just like that. Okay, so now I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to, let's copy this fully and then use it here. Okay, to learn. Let's come and take this all out. Already have. They have used reducer here, toggle, and all these things. So let's save and see what is happening. Okay, if I click, it automatically works. Okay, so I'm going to explain what they are doing here, and I'm also going to explain brute force way, which is not correct, and then how this improves your app by 10x, right? So I'm going to show you. Okay, here I'm going to create a view, and then same way, style is width of what, for width of 300, and then background color, let's use blue. Okay, save it. Let's see what is happening. Okay, height, we have to also have the height of 100, 200. Okay, so that huge one is there. So I'm going to put this to 200. So normally when I started out, what I would do is, let's use const move comma set move, okay, equal to use state of false. Okay, and then when, okay, I'm going to change this to pressable so that it gets pressed. Okay, so it is a pressable comment, because in view you can't press it. So I'm going to use this as set move of not of. Okay, so the value will be interchanging, and then if I simply use it like this, move, if it has moved, it should be 300, and if it doesn't move, it should be 100. If I tap on it, you can see it. The when the state changes, it abruptly increases its width and it abruptly, I don't know, compresses itself. Okay, this is this is not correct, right? Now this is a naive approach of doing this, but the function works, but the UX is not nice. Before this one, right? Before this version 4.4 version was introduced, I think 2 days back. This is 25 today. 2 days back. Let's go back to version 3.8. We have to use with timing your first animation. If I go here, like click me, right? We see, I'll show you the code. Okay, you have to use what so many code. Use shared value with Spring. Because what happens is use shared value is custom function from Reanimated where it will have the value stored in the animated state, and then we have to update the value with the help of with Spring, which will go from the set value to another value, and it will animate along the line. Okay, so from 50 to 100 to 100 to 150, you have to use a lot of code, and this is not how in CSS it would happen. And actually, we use this code in our app. Okay, so for example, the best use case is when a user comes to a particular screen, we enlarge the image, or like what I would say, scale up the image and scale it down. Okay, so what we do is we use the same use shared value and then increase the scale of that scale, or scale x, scale y, or transform the scale of the image from 1 to 1.4 and then reduce it to 1. Okay, so we use all these things, but they have released a superior version to this, where if you are from a web background like me, where you are good with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and React.js, you have extensively used the CSS animations in your own apps as well as with Tailwind. This is exactly how we do there, right? So if I scroll down the transition property, what happens is there we have animation duration, animation duration, and then like we can loop it for one time, two times, or infinite times, and with the easing curves, etc. We can do that the same way how we do it in web. Okay, we would do it in a separate CSS file with the keyframes, etc. In Tailwind, we simply use it directly, and we can also add the keyframes in the Tailwind config file. Right here, you can simply use this one, and then it will automatically work. Okay, so what is happening? Before we have to use the use shared value from React Native Reanimated. Now nothing. So they just compressed all these things to be used directly like CSS. Now I'm going to remove all these things. It's not required, and as we can't have animated with pressable. That's why they have used it in this way. So what they have done is I'm literally going to change this code from move, and then let's change this to on press. Same way, set off. Okay, remove this use study, sir. No, it all works, but the state changes. Okay, so if I go here, click me. Okay, it automatically works. And then we can also add what border radius. Okay, if I click on that, what happens when the initial state, the width will be 120, and then the color will be this, and then when the user taps on that, as the state changes, as this is an animated view from React Native Reanimated, it automatically applies the animation, whatever the animation that, like what I would say is the width or the height. If the width or the height changes, it will automatically animate to. Okay, so in Tailwind, actually Tailwind in CSS, we use something like, I think animate all, or like main thing is we use duration and then loop, where it can loop infinitely, etc. And then main thing is duration, where we wanted to want the animation to go for 1 or 2 seconds, or like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, etc. One is I think transition all. Okay, so if transition all is applied in Tailwind CSS and as well as in CSS, what happens is whichever property or whichever style gets changed, it will automatically animate. Okay, so that is the power of CSS animation. They have included the same thing here. So same way, if I go here and change height is to what move of I think here in the box, these guys have the height. I'm going to remove the height there. Move off. Let's take 150 and then 120. Okay, if I do this, let's do that, and then click me. You can see Okay. I will also explain why the height is not working properly. Okay, so I have also made sure the height also changes, but you can see it abruptly changes. Okay, it doesn't move in an animated way. Why that is we have to use that in the transition property one. So here the color also changes. So if I tap on this, the color eases into that particular one, like the other color. Okay, but the height doesn't change because we have to go here and use the height transition property here. Once we do that, if I tap on click, you can see how beautiful it looks. Okay. Now the one more is the transition duration of 500, and we can also change it to 1 second. This is in millisecond. Okay. So I'll do this. How beautiful it looks. Okay, but it's slightly slow. So I'm going to do this here. Let's see in the transition property. Let's copy this in the transition property here. Uh, okay, here this is transition property itself. Okay. So now if I go here, no other properties are there. So now to test if border radius is also there. Border radius. Okay, border radius is there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is see in here if it has moved, it should be 10. If it is not moved, it should be in 100. Then see how beautiful it is. If we do the same thing in normal React Native reanimated 3.x, it will take you so long, and then you have to test it properly in both Android and iOS. Okay, so let's see how we can do this in version 3. So what we are doing, so with timing, so we are, you can see we are changing 4 properties here, and then just like that we did it. Okay, just like that we are able to do this. Okay, now if we do this here, we have to have multiple. First thing is you can also do this with help of animated from React Native. Okay, you can also do that. You can use the shared value. Sorry. You can use animated of 0, and then you can also change the values. In normal animated, I think you can't change the border radius, etc. I forgot that. Okay, but in this new latest version, you can change any property which is available in the transition property. Okay, so okay, let's test that now. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. Let's use animated from React Native animated. So the React Native also has animated prop. So let's search in Google. So that's animated prop. Change border radius. Animations on border radius doesn't work. Animating the border radius. Okay, all these things. So let's see. Okay, I can see how many things we have to change here. Okay, so we have to change the state of the radius and all these things. But now with the single one, it's the single line of change, we were able to make this work. Okay, so that's the power of the latest React Native Reanimated version 4, right? The CSS transitions. And then one more is the CSS animations. Okay, now we'll also discuss this. And then to conclude this video, I will make a very nice example where when you focus on a keyboard, what happens is the keyboard shrinks and then you will be able to see a button there. Okay, so let's search. Let's see. Now here they have done something like this, right? They have used something called pulse. So copy this pulse. Let's see some other rotate. I don't like it will cause motion. Okay, so here pulse and then copy this whole thing. Paste it here. Okay. Now with the height with the height is not there, it won't work. So height of 120. Okay. Now if you see carefully, if you know web CSS, right? Normal CSS. Let's see the animation name. As I said, animation name, duration of 1 second, iteration count of infinite, and then the easing in like Bezier curve or like it should linearly ease in like linear animation, etc. Right. So if I simply copied and pasted this code, and then I have this, I will explain what that is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reload. So for some reason, okay, okay, I think okay, border. Let's post this on. Okay, so front end. Okay, we didn't add border. Okay, we didn't add border background color. Sorry, background color blue. Okay, so if I add, okay, now it works, right? So what happens here? We transform from this value to this value. It it changes the animation just by this particular line of code. What's one? Okay, like 10 lines of code. Okay, what happens is this is the animation name or the animation itself where it transforms from scale of 0.8 to 0. Sorry 1.2, and then it rotates its values from minus 15 degree to 15 degree. Okay, and then it happens every 1 second. You can also change it to 2 seconds. So let's change it to 2 seconds. It animates slowly, and then the iteration count is also infinite. But I think if you remove the infinite, let's remove the infinite. Okay, it should be there. Okay, let's use infinite for some reason. No. Reload. Okay, infinite, and then the animation timing function is ease in and out. I can also use what linear. Okay, it linearly comes out and comes in, but I don't like that. So I'm going to use ease in and ease out. And then animation direction is alternate. So let's search what that is. So let's go here and animation direction. Okay, let's specify which direction the animation should run. Defaults to normal. So what they have used is what alternate. For each animation, oh, okay, right. Okay. So what that alternate is for this first animation loop, it will go from to, and then for the second animation one, this will go from here to here. Okay, so and then vice versa. So that is the animation direction. That's why this looks good. Or else, let's take if you use normal, what happens? Let's see. It's not nice. Okay, it doesn't look good. So I will use alternate. Now it will go zigzag way. Okay, so that's the new features that they have implemented in the latest React Native Reanimated version. Okay, so it's a huge upgrade from the version 3 to version 4, where we have to include so much code, you have to test a lot, right? Now, if you know CSS well and if you understand these things, then you can make your app extremely good with the stylish animations. Now, if I go here, what I'm going to do is, okay, so I'm going to have what view, and then in this view, okay, not view. So, okay, I'll use some tricks here, right? This one, let's use animated.view, and then height of the height will not change. Okay, height will not change. Height of 50, and then this should be what, if it moves it should be 50, and then if it doesn't move it should be 70. Okay, is this opacity? Okay, I think display. Okay, it's there. Now what I'm border radius and all we need, just let's have 10, right? Background color, okay, that let's have it in that way itself. Just remove all these things. Border radius, no need. Height, no need. So what I'm going to do is, if you've seen some big apps where they would have a text input, and when you tap on the text input, the size of the text input reduces, so that it, and then the input would, like the keyboard would come up. Okay, and then a button will come at the side showing search, right? So let's do something like that. So now for this to work, let's add a pressable, and then on top of this. So what we are going to do, remove this pulse and all. So let's go here, and then on press, not of move. Okay, it's too small. 70, 120. Okay, click me is and all not needed. 200, 220. Okay. Sorry, let's use 300. 320. Okay. So when the user taps on the button, the the taps on the text input, we can have it as text input. The no, the width of that particular text input reduces, and we can also open up the keyboard. Okay. So if I go here, what I can do, what I can do is, let's use keyboard dot. Sorry, we can just dismiss one. So I'm going to go here and use border width of move is 1 and this of 0. Let's check border width is there. Border width. Okay, border width is also there. Change this to what, 700 milliseconds, and then think border color of red, no, not red, blue. Change this to 50. Let's do this. Okay, and see, right? If what we can do is, actually this is too slow. 300. So what we can do is, when let's take, you can have it at the top. So I'm going to remove the justify content of center. So it will be at the top, and when the user taps on this, we can convert this to input field, right? And then you can have a button at the right side, so that they would have a nice feel, right? Okay, like this particular thing works, right? So let's go here, check this as animated dot image scroll view text. Okay, we can't have an input field here. Yeah, so there are multiple use cases here, right? But the main takeaway of this particular video is, you right now in React Native, for the if you use React Native Reanimated, and I can confirm it works in both Android and iOS. You can use CSS style transitions and animations directly with the help of the version 4. And if you know web CSS well, then this would be a piece of cake for you. Okay, so that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video, which I will be discussing about React Native code push, where the App Center is retiring on March 31st. So we will need to have an alternate custom solution before that. If you use Expo, you can use the EAS one. Yeah. So I think you would have liked this video. So I will see you in the next.